Picture this, a creature so magnificent, so impossibly grand, that when its bones were first discovered, scientists refused to believe it ever walked the earth. They called it the Irish elk. But here's the twist, it wasn't Irish, and it wasn't an elk. Welcome to the story of Megaloceros giganteus, the giant deer that defied nature's rules and paid the ultimate price for its beauty. Imagine standing in an ancient forest 400,000 years ago. The ground trembles. Through the mist emerges a beast standing 7 feet tall at the shoulder, taller than a grizzly bear standing upright. But what truly takes your breath away are the antlers. 12 feet from tip to tip, weighing up to 90 pounds. These weren't just antlers, they were nature's most extravagant crown, wider than a car, heavier than a full-grown human child. Here's where it gets bizarre. Every single year, these magnificent creatures would shed these massive antlers and grow them back in just 3 to 4 months. Think about that for a moment. To accomplish this biological miracle, a male Megaloceros had to consume an absolutely staggering amount of calcium and minerals. So much that scientists believe they had to eat almost constantly during the growing season, stripping entire forests of vegetation like living lawnmowers. But why? Why would evolution create something so seemingly impractical? The answer lies in nature's most ruthless competition, the battle for mates. Female Megaloceros weren't impressed by strength alone, they wanted spectacle. Males with the largest, most symmetrical antlers won the right to reproduce. It was nature's ultimate arms race, and the Megaloceros took it to an extreme that has never been matched before or since. Now here's a detail that will haunt you. Those antlers weren't smooth. They were palmate, meaning they spread out like giant hands with dozens of points jutting out in every direction. When two males fought during mating season, the sound of their antlers clashing could be heard for miles. Imagine the thunderous crack of two massive bone structures colliding with the force of small cars crashing together. These battles were so intense that paleontologists have found fossilized skulls with antlers permanently locked together, two rivals who fought to the death and beyond. The Megaloceros roamed across a vast territory, from Ireland to Siberia, from Spain to China. But despite what the name suggests, Ireland is where we found the most spectacular specimens, perfectly preserved in peat bogs that acted like natural time capsules. When Irish farmers first dug up these enormous skeletons in the 1600s, they thought they had discovered dragons. The Catholic Church declared them to be remains of creatures that perished in the biblical flood. It wasn't until the 1800s that scientists realized they were looking at something far more extraordinary, a real animal that had actually existed. Here's something that will make you question everything you know about evolution. The Megaloceros had eyes positioned in such a way that they could see almost 360 degrees around their head. This was crucial because those magnificent antlers came with a deadly disadvantage. They made it nearly impossible to run through dense forests. A Megaloceros in full sprint through woodland was essentially navigating an obstacle course while balancing a small tree on its head. One wrong move, one branch caught in those elaborate times, and the animal could break its neck instantly. Scientists have discovered something even more unsettling. By analyzing the bone structure and growth rings in fossilized antlers, they've determined that growing these massive structures was so metabolically expensive that it literally shortened the animal's lifespans. Male Megaloceros were essentially sacrificing years of their lives for the chance to reproduce. Evolution had created a biological paradox. The very trait that made them successful at mating was also killing them faster. The habitat of the Megaloceros was unlike anything we see today. During the Ice Age, much of Europe was covered not by dense forests, but by a landscape called Mammoth Steppe, vast open grasslands dotted with scattered trees, similar to the African savanna, but much colder. This was the perfect environment for an animal with 12 feet antlers. They could see predators coming from miles away, and there were fewer obstacles to navigate. The Megaloceros shared this world with woolly mammoths, cave lions, and our own ancestors, Neanderthals and early modern humans. And here's where the story takes a dark turn. Recent evidence suggests that humans didn't just observe these magnificent creatures, we hunted them. Cave paintings in France and Spain show Megaloceros with spears embedded in their sides. But we didn't just hunt them for food. Archaeological sites have revealed something more disturbing. Megaloceros antlers used as ceremonial objects, their skulls arranged in ritual patterns. We didn't just kill them, we worshipped them, feared them, and ultimately may have contributed to their extinction. The relationship between Megaloceros and early humans was complex. Some researchers believe that shamans wore Megaloceros antlers during rituals, trying to channel the animal's power. Imagine the sight, a human figure silhouetted against a fire, wearing a crown of antlers that made them appear 12 feet tall. These weren't just animals to our ancestors, they were gods walking the earth.
But let's talk about the extinction, because this is where the story becomes a mystery that scientists are still trying to solve. Around 11,000 years ago, most Megaloceros populations vanished. But here's the twist, some survived. On the Isle of Man and in Siberia, isolated populations held on until just 7,700 years ago. That means the last Megaloceros died when the pyramids of Egypt were already being planned. They weren't prehistoric in the way we usually think, they were practically historical. So what killed them? The popular theory blames climate change. As the Ice Age ended, forests began to replace the open grasslands. Those magnificent antlers that were once an advantage became a death sentence in dense woodland. But recent research has revealed something more sinister. Analysis of the final Megaloceros populations shows signs of inbreeding and genetic bottlenecking. These animals were dying out not just because of their environment, but because their gene pool had become dangerously shallow. Here's a detail that scientists discovered only recently, and it's absolutely chilling. By examining the chemical composition of Megaloceros bones from different time periods, researchers found that in their final centuries, these animals were suffering from severe malnutrition. Even when food was available, they couldn't extract enough calcium and minerals to support their massive antlers. Their bodies were literally cannibalizing themselves, pulling calcium from their own bones to grow those magnificent crowns. They were starving from the inside out, all for the sake of beauty. But wait, there's more to this tragedy. Genetic analysis has revealed that Megaloceros wasn't actually closely related to modern elk at all. Its closest living relative is the fallow deer, a creature that stands barely 3 feet tall and has antlers you could hold in one hand. Imagine that evolutionary journey, from something small and manageable to the most extravagantly adorned mammal that ever lived, and then to extinction. It's evolution's most spectacular success story and its most cautionary tale, all wrapped into one. Now let's discuss something that will change how you think about these animals. Recent studies of Megaloceros teeth have revealed microscopic wear patterns that tell us exactly what they ate. And here's the surprise, they were incredibly picky eaters. Unlike modern deer that can survive on almost any vegetation, Megaloceros required specific types of plants rich in minerals. They were the gourmets of the Ice Age. And when climate change altered the plant communities they depended on, they couldn't adapt. Their magnificence had made them specialists, and specialization is evolution's double-edged sword. There's a fossil site in Siberia where something extraordinary was preserved. Scientists found a Megaloceros that had fallen through ice and been frozen almost instantly. When they examined it, they discovered something that had never been seen before. The actual velvet that covered the growing antlers was still intact. This soft, blood vessel-rich tissue revealed that the antlers weren't just bone, they were living organs during their growing phase, pumping with blood, sensitive to touch. Imagine the sensation of growing something that massive on your head, feeling it expand day by day, the weight increasing until it became almost unbearable. Here's something that sounds like science fiction, but is absolutely real. Some Megaloceros antlers show evidence of disease, a condition called osteoporosis. Yes, these ancient deer suffered from the same bone-weakening disease that affects humans today. The metabolic cost of growing those antlers was so extreme that it literally weakened their entire skeleton. Some individuals have been found with fractures that healed poorly, suggesting they lived in constant pain, their bodies breaking down under the weight of their own magnificence. The final populations of Megaloceros show something even more heartbreaking. In their last centuries, the antlers were getting smaller. Evolution was finally trying to correct its mistake, selecting for more modest proportions. But it was too late. The damage was done. The populations were too small, too isolated, too genetically compromised. Nature created a masterpiece and then watched helplessly as it destroyed itself. But here's the most haunting question of all. Could we bring them back? With advances in genetic engineering and de-extinction technology, some scientists have proposed using DNA from those perfectly preserved Irish bog specimens to resurrect the Megaloceros. But even if we could, should we? Would we be creating an animal doomed to suffer, a creature whose very biology was a death sentence? Or would we be giving evolution a second chance to correct its most spectacular mistake? Recent discoveries have revealed something that changes everything we thought we knew. Cave paintings in Spain, dated to just 9,000 years ago, show what appears to be Megaloceros with smaller antlers living alongside humans. If this identification is correct, it means these animals survived far longer than we thought, and they were actively evolving, adapting, trying desperately to survive. They weren't passive victims of extinction. They were fighting back, changing, attempting to shed the very trait that defined them. The legacy of Megaloceros lives on in unexpected ways. Modern Irish culture has adopted the giant deer as a symbol of their natural heritage. But more importantly, the Megaloceros has become a symbol in evolutionary biology, a warning about the dangers of runaway sexual selection, a reminder that evolution doesn't always produce the fittest. Sometimes it produces the most beautiful, and beauty can be deadly. So, the next time you see a deer in the wild, remember its ancient cousin. Remember the creature that took nature's arms race to its ultimate extreme. Remember the animal that chose magnificence over survival, that wore a crown so heavy it could barely lift its head, that grew weapons so elaborate they became prisons. The Megaloceros giganteus, the Irish elk that wasn't Irish or an elk, the most spectacular evolutionary experiment that ever walked the earth, and a reminder that sometimes nature's greatest masterpieces are also its most tragic mistakes. The story of the Megaloceros isn't just about an extinct animal. It's about the price of perfection, the cost of beauty, and the thin line between evolutionary success and catastrophic failure. It's a story that ended 7,700 years ago, but its lessons echo through time, reminding us that survival isn't about being the biggest, the strongest, or the most beautiful. It's about being adaptable. And in that regard, the magnificent Megaloceros, with its 12-foot crown of bone, failed spectacularly. But what a glorious failure it was!